Hey guys, it's Nate with S&S Predator Impact. I was out here doing a day set, and I said, you know what? I really got to get home. I got to do a review video of the Predator Thermal Optics Mission LRF. As some of you guys know, we were some of the first to be chosen to test this optic and look this optic over and use this optic and put it through some rugged tests and just use it. Just use it as we normally would any other thing, right? So I said, well, why would I go home and do that when I'm sitting here in the woods? I'm out literally in the middle of nowhere in some state land doing some day sets, right? And I said, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to get this video done now. I've already got the gear with me. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it done right now. So guys, without further ado, this is my review of the Predator Thermal Optics Mission LRF 5384. This is a 384 by 288 super sensitive processor that's in this. It is a 1024 by 768 OLED display, I think is the way that's pronounced. It does have an integrated laser rangefinder on it. There's a 128 gig memory that's inside of it for your video and picture pleasures. It is a 4 by 32 magnification system. So that's the little facts about it. Let me give you my take on my stuff that I like about it. I'm a left-handed shooter. A lot of people don't know that. I'm a left-handed shooter, and a lot of people don't realize that this world is based off of right-handed people. Most of the things that you do in this world, the products made and things like that, they're made for the right-handed person. So this is where the mind of Paul over at Predator Hunter Outdoors took over when he designed the Predator Thermal Optics line. It's ambidextrous as far as the usage of it. Everything is ambidextrous. So I personally love that about this optic. I can do everything off of the top of this optic, from the focus to your main menu buttons, to navigate through the buttons or through your main menu. Everything's right off of the top. If you're a right-handed person, you're this way. If you're a left-handed person, you're this way. I know some of the optics out there, I've got to struggle a little bit because I've got to go to this side and I've got to go to this side, and you know, you can navigate this way and you don't have to do that. Everything's right off the top. I personally, that's one of my favorite features that's on this gun, or this optic, is the ambidextrous design per se. Another option that this has that you don't get on a lot of optics is the LRF. The laser rangefinder set up for a 1200 yard accuracy plus minus 1 yard, I believe is what it says on the website. I have so far found that to be pretty true. I've ranged things with my handheld laser rangefinder, and then I've turned around and pointed this at the same object, and plus minus 1 yard. Yeah, I think that would be, I would say that's pretty accurate. If my laser rangefinder by hand says 300 yards, this might say 298 or 299 or 301 or 305. Either way, that plus minus, I mean, they're all going to be right in there to that plus minus 1 yard. It's an older technology and it works great, and they figured out how to do that, you know, and Paul's integrated that system right into this optic. When this thing's running your laser rangefinder on the inside of the optic, right on the screen, you just look on the bottom left hand corner. As you'll see in a future video, in this video I've put clips of me using these options, so you won't be kind of left in the dark on it. You'll see what I'm saying if you just follow this video along. The LRF system works great. I've never had an issue with it. It's been flawless. The other cool option to this is the laser pointer. It's got a red laser pointer that's inside it. Nothing to do with the laser rangefinder. It's a laser pointer. Now, let me tell you where this comes into play. Say you're hunting a cornfield, you drop a coyote at 200 yards in the cornfield, right? If anybody knows anything about hunting at night, hunting in the dark, in the middle of a cornfield, when you dispatch a coyote in the middle of a cornfield, if you ever looked at the color of a coyote, it blends in very well with corn stubble and the ground. Mike and I have literally spent 45 minutes to an hour before looking for a coyote laying in the middle of a cornfield, because sometimes they're hard to spot. If you're using your handheld laser, you know, scanner, when they're up close, it's hard to navigate that. You only get a picture this big, right? So what this laser pointer does is, this laser pointer, literally, you turn it on and it's a laser beam. And you look through your scope and you point that laser right at where your last visual was of that coyote. Does it put it right on the coyote? No, maybe not. But what it does do is it gives you a very general direction of which way to go. And once you're there, you get around that laser where that laser's hitting the ground, and you start scanning, and usually you find it within minutes. That was a really cool time-saving option that I like about it. Especially if you're hunting tournaments. When you're hunting tournaments and you're hunting a 48-hour tournament, time is everything. You want to shoot those coyotes, gather those coyotes, and get on to the next set. Sometimes when you're out there in a tournament, and you're like, man, where'd that coyote go? Where'd that coyote go? God, we're pressing up against time. We're at 30 minutes. Now we're at 45 minutes, and the 30-minute drive was your next set. The 45-minute drive was your next set. So, or the drive to your next set. So now you're just killing time. But anyway, anybody that hunts at night, it's hard to find coyotes out in the ground once you dispatch them. This gives you your last point that you shot your coyote. You walk right to the laser beam. And the cool thing about it is when you turn back around, you know which way to walk right back to your gun, because you can see the laser beam. You know, so there's a lot of time saving that goes into that laser pointer. I have not seen that integrated in any optics to this point, me personally speaking. But I know you can get laser rangefinders where you put an adapter on the side of your gun, just like I have here. You can hook one to that, and you can turn it on and point it and stuff like that. That's great. But in this optic, I don't have to have all that extra stuff to knock off when it's in its case, or knock it off when you're walking through branches. It's all integrated right in here. I push a button, it turns on, I walk to it. It's pretty awesome. It's got a very rugged build. I mean, it's a very rugged built optic. It's not unlike any of the rest of them. It's very strong. It's very, we haven't had any problem with it losing zero. The mount that comes with the optic is aluminum, and it locks right down on your gun like any other optic does. I haven't had any issues when it comes to the structure. The lens cap works great. I like that it snaps. A lot of them don't snap. They just swing and they close, right? Well, this one snaps shut on you. So when you're out there in the field, and you see how this could be kind of cumbersome in the wind and moving around, you just grab hold of it, push it back one more click, and it locks into place. Now you don't have to worry about that thing swinging closed on you right in the middle when a coyote's jumping and you're moving your hands around. You're not going to bump it and close it on you. It snaps back. So, and you close it. I like to run mine closed when I'm carrying the gun. In case something happens, the gun slips off the tripod for some stupid reason, or you're putting it in a case, and you don't want to damage that. That front screen is everything in an optic, and you want to keep it protected at all costs. So it's a nice rugged design on the optic itself. The audio pickup on this, the microphone is I believe this is this button right here on the top. I haven't researched or asked anybody about it, but I believe it takes up your voice and everything right here in the top. So you don't get a lot of the breathing sounds. I know that Mike has been razzed on that a little bit sometimes, but the microphone placement on some of these optics is right in front of your mouth. When you're on the gun, it's right here, and you can't help it. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. So he's designed this one up towards the top, and it's a super sensitive microphone, and it gets everything you need. So between the LRF and then the laser pointer and the rugged design of this optic, the mount that comes with it, and just real quick on the mount, it's a lower profile mount. If you guys can see that, you guys have seen some of those guns where, especially your bolt action guns, the optic comes back and it sits really high on the. This one's not. This one is a nice low profile mount. It works very well with the AR platforms. The whole optic itself is small and it's low profile, and I like that about this. I don't like those big optics that kind of sit up and high. It just, to me, it's spots for branches to get caught in it, snapping your optic, throwing your zero off. This one just kind of flows right with the gun, right nice and low. Me personally, it's one of the things I like about smaller optics. They got to sit low, they got to sit tight, and this one does it. It just does. So you guys can see that I have an adjustable cheek rest on this, and I'm up 3/8 of an inch, maybe half an inch. That's all I had to raise it off of my Picatinny rail. So, and that might be just a touch high, to be honest with you, because I was kind of screwing with that earlier when I was on the set. The display is good. The image boosting technology. This is something that's new to the thermal world, I guess, and I've never played with it up until this point. And again, if you keep going in this video, I do an example video of how that works. I had a deer walk out on me, I don't know, probably about 80 yards. And I wanted to test that image boosting technology. It was really humid out, and it wasn't, you know, it was a rough night for a thermal. And this thing performed very well. And I was kind of surprised, to be honest, for a 384 core system, it performed very well for such a humid night. But the way that image boosting technology works, and again, there is an example video of this. If you keep going through the video, you'll see where I put the example video on there. Essentially, what it is you have your object that you're pointing at, right? In this instance, it was a deer, and I was panning back and forth. When I panned to the deer, it would darken up the surroundings and light the deer up a little bit, touch brighter, or it just seemed like it did, but maybe it was because it darkened the background. And then when you pan to the right, it would kind of it would go back to its normal screen. But when you're on that hot object and that large object, if you're white hot, it makes the background kind of dark. If you're on black hot, it lightens up the background a little bit. If you're on red hot, I believe it darkens up the background a little bit as well. It's a very simple, what seems to be a simple technology, but so useful. I mean, it really makes those targets pop, and you never really, you know, it helps you with your number one, putting your bullseye where you want it on the animal. Number two, it's just easier. I mean, I don't even need to go through the 1, 2, 3. It just makes things a little bit easier. Anybody that's in the thermal world knows that, you know, anytime you get that object just a touch brighter, it's beautiful. So that's another great feature of this. And I think the final feature I want to talk about is the price point of it. I believe it's somewhere for the 640 core. I want to say it's somewhere around $29.99 for the 640. And it's cheaper for the 384. Mike is running the 684 core, and he loves it. He says it's a great optic. He's had the same luck that I have had with the laser rangefinder, with the laser pointer. I mean, he's had, you know, the big difference for those that are just kind of dabbling into the thermal world. The big difference between the 384 core system and the 640 core system is the processor, right? That's what it is. It's the processor. The biggest time, I guess, you'll see those different image qualities would be in high humidity nights. If your air quality kind of sucks, that's when that 640 core system will take over. And when I say take over, I don't mean such as like you won't be able to see nothing. It'll always bring that hot object to the screen. You'll always be able to see that hot object, but the scenery behind that hot object won't be as clear with the 384 as it would be with the 640 core system. It just processes things a little bit better, processes them a little bit nicer. Do I think there's an advantage to the 640 core system? Absolutely, I do. But if your budget's around that 384, do not be afraid of this Mission LRF in the 384 core system. Do not be afraid of it, because it is, I mean, it is a new technology, and with all the options that come with it, it's beautiful. It really is. And for those just starting out into the thermal world and the price point you're looking for, you've got your laser rangefinder, you got your laser pointer, you got your focus and your ambidextrous buttons, and you got your nice low profile mount, and you got your durability in the optic itself. There's not really much more that you need to just get started into the thermal world. I think this is a perfect option. My rating is an 8.5 out of 10. That's what I'm going to rate this optic at, is an 8.5 out of 10. I think Paul really knocked it out of the park for, I say this all the time, just to jump off that real quick. I say this all the time that, you know, made by predator hunters for predator hunters. If you guys don't know anything about Paul over at Predator Hunter Outdoors, or Blake over at Predator Hunter Outdoors, these guys are staples in the predator hunting industry, in the predator hunting world. These guys are, they've been around it. They've done it. They've played with, probably, I bet Paul probably has played with every optic in the market, you know. And what he did is he built this optic, Predator Thermal Optics. That is Predator Hunter Outdoors. Predator Thermal Optics was built around all these different optics that Paul has played with in his years of predator hunting and his years of experience with the predator hunting world. And I think he's built a package here that is going to benefit from the novice guy all the way up to the professional guy, right? If you enjoy predator hunting and your budget might be just not quite enough for that big expensive one, do not be afraid of the 384 core system with the Predator Thermal Optics Mission LRF. I think you're going to like it. I think you're really going to like it. And I do know guys that have purchased one here lately, and they say, man, that's impressive. For the price point behind it, it's an impressive optic. So that's my review of the Predator Thermal Optics Mission LRF 5384. I'm Nate with S&S Predator Impact. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to shoot us a message off a Facebook page, or put a comment down below of this, and I'll do my best to answer the questions. If I don't have the answer to the question, I will get the answer for you. Again, Nate Sadler, S&S Predator Impact. We hope you guys enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing some more of these review videos for you. You guys have a great day, and good luck on your hunts.
Let's talk about that image boosting technology that I was explaining earlier in my review video. You see how I'm on target here? You got a nice bright target and a dark background. I'm going to pan to the left now, and you'll see that background lighten up. See how that works? And then let's come back to the target. Your whole background darkens back up again. That's that image boosting technology where it really makes that target pop nice for you. Here's another little clip for you guys. This is a deer. Well, according to the rangefinder there in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you can see it at work. You're about 75 yards or so, 60 yards, somewhere in that ballpark. So the great thing about, again, this 384 core system from Predator Thermal Optics is your image quality. You can see all your trees in the background, look at the blind in the background. Everything's nice and clear, and your target is super clear. It's super bright. There's no question on what it is. You can even see the definition in the horns, the different heat signatures that's coming off of the body. There's a perfect video of it right there. This is a great example of image quality. Now here in a second, what's going to turn on is your picture-in-picture mode. Now what that picture-in-picture mode is, as you can see here, your bottom screen is a 4 power, your top screen is an 8 power. So you have a zoomed in picture of your target. Both crosshairs are set to the same 0. Now where this comes into play, you have your rangefinder at work. That coyote turns around, runs off on you, gets out there at 250 yards and stops. You have your laser rangefinder checking your yardage. You have a zoomed in version in your optic with the crosshair. Put the crosshair on your target where you desire it, pull the trigger, and dead coyote. Now here's the actual optic going to work on some coyotes. So you can see here, again, the 384 core system. Again, the clarity you see. This was a little bit more of a medium humidity night, and you still have a really great picture and a great clarity out of that video. There's our coyotes standing right there in a black hot mode. Watch these coyotes stop. Now, what you can see in the background behind those two coyotes just kind of looks like a square type situation. That's actually the top of a barn. That's why I don't take the shot on this coyote. This is where image quality comes into play. You got to have that image quality there so you can see your target and, more importantly, what is beyond your target. And the 384 core systems from Predator Thermal Optics seems to do all that. But as you're going to see here in just a second, that coyote's going to move away from that barn and move into a more desirable area for me to feel safe enough to take a shot. You got some round bills in the background there. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the show. All right, guys, I hope the video that you guys just watched was helpful in trying to make a decision on the best thermal optic for you. If you are interested in this thermal optic or any other thermal optics, like every one of them on the market, you can visit www.predatorhunteroutdoors.com. That is basically the Predator Hunter Superstore, from tripods to ball heads to any of your Predator thermal optics, any of your pulsar optics, any optic you're looking for. He has them over PredatorHunterOutdoors.com. I'm Nate Sadler with S&S Predator Impact, and we hope to see you guys very soon. Thanks a lot.